Alright, so before we start mosaicing our mandala, we want to seal the wood. This helps to protect it. So we can use our same glue that we are going to be using to glue the tiles on. I'm just going to put a little bit in here, so it's basically half and half that I usually use. So about, 50-50 water. So just a little bit of water in there. Mix it up. So we're just going to do one coat, and once it's dry we'll start mosaicing, but make sure you do the underside when you have finished your mosaic. Right, so we'll just paint it on. And we also want to get down the sides. Right, so we'll get this finished and we'll see you soon. Right, with our mandala we've sealed it with a mix of the PVA and water previously shown. So this just helps to seal it and protect it against humidity, moisture, etc. The glue I've got is non-toxic PVA, so we're going to use this today. Right, well, first thing we're going to concentrate is this one here. You'll notice on your mandala that there's basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these shapes here. So whatever we're doing here, we're just going to replicate around the rest of the board. I've got some beautiful green cosmic tiles. All these are gorgeous. They've got the gold threads on them, so absolutely beautiful. Right, cutters, always keep your hand towards your end of the cutters. It just helps for easy leverage. Also, these have the wheels. Over time, they will get blunt with the amount of cutting that you do. So you can get a permanent marker, pop a line here, get an Allen key, loosen them off, and then just re-tighten it up once you've turned the wheels. It's quite handy to have a paintbrush as well. So we're just going to start by putting our 2 little dots on here. Just flatten the glue down. This just stops your tiles from floating on the actual glue, so you really want to get good adhesion to the board. So I'm putting a little circle, and I'm making sure that I'm inside all of the lines. So you do have to go back and just double check every couple of minutes that they haven't moved slightly until they start to get firm. It's pretty good. And we are going to put another little one. It's a little blackberry one, so that just sits up there. So we'll start with our first one. Pop a little bit of glue down. Just flatten it down. Now with this line here, I want to achieve staying on the other side of this line. Okay? So as I said, the other side of this line, so don't go over. Doesn't matter if you're coming over to the other line, this side of it does not matter at all, as long as we're staying inside this line here. And basically whatever I do on this side, the amount of tiles I will do on this side, so you always keep it the same. So I'm going to stop there. I'm now going to work from here back up to here. So first one's going to go down here. As you can see, I'm going to have to cut it on a little bit of an angle. So with this one here, I'm just going to cut clean diagonally down. Try another one. You will have a few spare tiles in your pack, just in case you do have the odd cut that you're not happy with. Like I was not happy with this one. So we've got another one. So there'll be some spare tiles in your kit set. So that's basically just a diagonal shape. Inside the line. And this will just be perfect on the other side. Okay. So it's basically going to be 2 more tiles, and then we're going to cut one in half. So I'll show you that one. So tile in the center. Make sure your wheel is in the center of your tile, and just a clean cut down. And then just spread them out till the gaps are basically even, and that you're happy with them. So that's our first one. So now we'll replicate what we've done there on this side. So these are 10mm crystal tile in the white. So with these ones, I'm going to cut in half, and I'm going to put 4 around here. So as you can see, I happen to have the widest paintbrush that I could find. So definitely get a nice small paintbrush, will make it a lot easier. So one there, one on that side, and another 2 there. So all I've put around there is just 4 half tiles around there, and just space them out again so your gaps are even. Right, the inside here we're going to put our 10mm white tiles, and we're going to keep these ones whole this time. Then start in the opposite end, and then we'll slowly move in this way. So one there. This just helps us to get an even spacing so we don't get all the way to the end. We've got a tiny little gap, this way we can just adjust them if we need to. Right, so I've got 10 down here. So obviously down this side, from here will be 10 as well. A large gold ceramic petal we're going to pop in here, and also 2 smaller ones at the side. Pat that glue down so that it's not, your tiles aren't going to be floating on top. So just roughly arrange these. Right, and that's our first one. Now we're going to cut up this beautiful iridized green stained glass. This is just absolutely beautiful. So if you've got a kit set, you'll see they come in these little squares. So what I probably do, which is easy, is cut a few up to start with. The easiest way to cut these, I'm going to put them diagonally. I don't want a perfect triangle, I'm not too worried as long as I'm getting a smaller shape. So some I'm going to keep a little bit bigger. And then I'll cut some smaller ones. So these are just quite handy, having these little tails on there just to go into these little bits here. Basically what you should do one, then you can do all your preparation cutting and it's a lot faster. And make sure when you're gluing them down, if you have bought a kit set of these ones, that you've got the shiny side up. Sometimes it's quite hard to tell. That's the underside, but if you give it a little bit of a glisten in the light, you can see the iridized shiny side. So just try and keep that side on the top. Right, pick up our little tails, and as you see they fit in nicely just in here. So start with these ones first. Some you can trim a little bit if you want to fit them in nicely. Just take the tail off. That just sits a bit nicer in there. As I said, these are beginners kit sets, so we try and make them as simple as they can be and also enjoyable. So remember, if you do have any sort of larger gaps you're a bit worried about, remember the grout will go into those. It's just sort of piecing it back like a puzzle, really. Sometimes they're not always going to fit. This one here I'm going to cut a rectangle shape. I'm just looking at the sort of shape it is. Perfect. Another sort of a rectangle shape. Just sort of fiddle around with them just to make the spacings a bit more even. But yeah, it's basically going to be it. Nice and simple. We will be cutting a lot of these mirrors up because they're actually going to outline all of our spikes. So even if you sit down for a little while and just cut a few up at a time is the best way to start. So we'll get a little pile cut and then we'll carry on. And the cut we're going to do for these ones is just cut them in half. So try and get your cutter in the center, hand over them. Right, so you get cutting and we'll touch base. Alright, how did we get on? I've got a nice big pile of cut mirror, so I think this is going to be great. It's always good, as I said, to have a little stash cut ready to go, then it's just a lot faster. Once we've done the initial one, it's going to be so much quicker doing all the other ones. I've also cut a few white ones in half to go around our edging. Right, so let's carry on. We're going to do the mirror around here. And I did find a small paintbrush, so things are looking up. Right, so we'll start with a little bit of glue. So your mirror is going to go on the inside of this line up here, so just quite close to here. So that is our first one. Right, we'll carry on and we're going to do this one here. So same thing, we're going to outline here with our mirror. So this is a 20mm tile. Back to the big paintbrush, just blend that down a little bit. So we'll put a close-up picture after we do this, just so you can see how it's going to look. So as I said, we do keep these nice and simple and they're enjoyable to do, okay? So just take your time. So we're going to put one here. I'm going to start one at this end. One there. And as you can see, I'm just going to have to cut one in half. So same thing again, you can turn it over and cut opposite the ridges. It just makes it a little bit easier. Put your cutter so it's all the way in, your wheel's in the actual center of the tile, it's not back here. Sometimes it can be deceiving when you do go to cut them, you actually think you're right in the center, but that's actually not. So always just have a double check, move in a little bit, and then you should get a nice clean straight cut. So just don't want this hanging over. See how it's coming slightly onto this, and this is going to also have the mirror along here. So I'm going to just bring that back up a little bit. Perfect. Right, same thing again, we're going to put a bit of mirror through here. Lining this one here with the mirror up to here, and we'll be able to fill in our background here. Fill this area here like we've done here. So this is done with beautiful green glitter. So we're just going to cut those sorry, we're just going to cut those diagonally in half again. So I want to just get some smaller ones and then in half again. Just getting nice smaller workable pieces. And I think we fit about maybe cut up 3. We'll try 2 tiles. So let's put our glue in here. And as I said, if you do have a lazy Susan at home, it's really handy to work with. Okay. I'm just going to smear our glue around. Start with our little tails of our triangle, pop them into here. It's always a handy shape to do because you can always use the tails just to fill in the little gaps, and if you need, you just can trim off the edges. So these ones are working well so far. Can wiggle them around if you need to even the spaces out, but that's basically going to be fine because our grout's going to go into all those little gaps. It's going to look great. So up here we're going to use our nice white cosmic tiles. We're going to follow through like this here. On to our next one, which will be this one here. So we've got 12 of these little spikes. So this is it here. So same thing again, cut your mirror in half. So good to have a few cut up ready to go. That way you won't have to stop and start all the time. Come here. A little bit of glue. Just arrange those roughly in a diamond pattern. Diamond shapes that can go there. Apple Cosmo tile, which is this one here. The same thing again, we are going to put 1, 2, 3 whole ones and 2 halves in. And just same thing, adjust those to how you want them to sit. Right, so there are our little points all finished, and we'll carry on doing all those around our board. Okay, so once we've finished all these here, we're going to put the border on. So what I've done here, as you can see, I've used this beautiful green tile. So from this space to here takes exactly 9 tiles. So basically from here to there is 9 tiles. So just peel these off. So put our glue down. We'll start from this end, run that end, and then start from this end, another one, and then so on. And we can just adjust them as we move in. In this area here, we're going to put a nice coral tile in. I think this one is our Murano nude tile. So these are just a very nice basic tile, not taking too much away from the beautiful greens and things. So same thing again, we're going to place them in this area. And once you're doing one, you're just replicating it all the way around your board. So you just want to make sure when we put these two on here that they meet up. So that point there and that point there. So it doesn't matter if they sit out a wee bit from the tiles, as long as they meet nicely there. So right there. Carry on with our other ones. So you'll find when we finish doing this, you should end up with 6 little triangle slots. Let's have a look. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So take your tile, put it in diagonally in the center, and then just slice it down. So we'll put some spare ones just in case, as I said, the cuts aren't to your liking. You have some spare ones to play around with. Just sort of wiggle them to fill in the spaces. And check for rascals that haven't moved. Okay, for our final bit, which will be our centre bit, we're going to put our glue in here. Flatten it down. And we're going to cut our mirror circles that we've got in half. The same thing again, in the centre of your cutter, slice down. Just like that. And more glue in the centre, and what we're going to do now is arrange our gold petals. So I'll just show you the sequence that we'll be doing. So just pat your glue down, and roughly guesstimate where our centre is. We can always wriggle this around when we need to. So basically every second divot I'm going to put the petal tip in. So the large ones first. So second divot, second, second, just sort of adjust that center if you need to, checking nothing's moved. Perfect. And now we're going to fill in the gaps with the medium petals, which are these ones. And I do them from this end back in, so the tip up there, tip will start here. So this might just take a little bit of fiddling because the glue, as I said, does take a little bit to dry, and sometimes they can move when you think you've put them in place. So you always just go back maybe every 5 minutes and just do another check over. Right, that's it. We'll get ready for grouting.